The body is the first building. The building is the perfected body. Now that's not some poetic metaphor. We're about to dive into the mind of a man who saw this as a literal, terrifying blueprint.
So, this isn't your typical true crime story. Not really. We're going to explore the chillingly rational philosophy of America's first serial killer, H.H. Holmes, and the actual architecture he built to bring that twisted philosophy to life.
To really get what made this guy tick, we have to go back to the beginning, back when he was just a boy named Herman Mudgett. Long before there were any bricks and mortar, a blueprint was being drawn inside his mind.
Okay, so this right here, this is the key. In his youth, Holmes saw two ideas merge into one. On one hand, you have mercy, like a precisely measured dose of medicine. But on the other, you have the clean incision of a surgeon. For him, healing and harming weren't opposites. Nope, they were just two different applications of the exact same skill. Absolute precision. And this idea, it cements itself in his mind, becoming a full-blown worldview. He has this recurring dream where a church and a dissecting room are literally the same building. And get this, he was the only one who could open the door between them. In his head, the sacred and the surgical were one and the same. Mercy and incision were interchangeable. This is the real turning point. He saw his own father get completely crushed by debt, by numbers on a page. And Holmes swore to himself, right then and there, that he would never be a victim of mathematics. Instead, he was going to master it. He would use numbers to control every single variable in his world, including, eventually, people. Which, of course, brings us to our second act. Now that blueprint in his head, that obsession with control, is about to get a physical form. He's done dreaming. Now he's gonna build. This quote, it's the key to the whole damn thing. You have to understand, he wasn't building a hotel. He was building a body, a perfected, controllable anatomy. Think about it. Hallways like ribs, rooms like organs, and pipes like veins, all designed so that he, the brain, had total and complete control. And he built this thing in absolute secrecy. So how do you build a labyrinth in plain sight without anyone knowing it's a labyrinth? Easy. You give each worker just one tiny piece of the puzzle. The plans changed every single night. Carpenters would build a staircase, then come back the next day to find it walled off. He hired and fired foremen so fast that nobody could ever piece together the big picture. Only Holmes ever saw the complete, terrifying design. All right, so let's walk through the anatomy of this monster building. First up, soundproofing. Absolutely essential for a place where, let's say, privacy was the top priority. He had to make sure its internal workings remained undisturbed. Then you've got gas jets, piped into every single room. He'd tell people it was a modern feature, for cleanliness. But what it really gave him was control over the very air his guests were breathing. And then things just get weird. He builds a staircase that goes up 3 floors and ends at a solid ceiling. This wasn't a mistake, folks. It was a feature. It was a tool designed to confuse and disorient anyone inside. And if that's not enough, how about doors that literally open onto a solid brick wall? Again, not a design flaw. It was a statement. It was him sending a message. This building doesn't follow normal rules. It follows my rules, and my rules only. And this is where it gets really chilling. We're in the third act now, and the murder castle is no longer just a building. It's alive. It's a functioning organism with its own pulse, its own schedule, and its own deadly purpose. The source material paints this picture of the castle almost waking up. It describes the pipes humming, the vents sighing, the whole structure seeming to breathe right along with Holmes. It wasn't just a machine. It was a perfectly loyal creature, a mechanical extension of his own cold mind. You have to pay attention to the language he used. Holmes never saw himself as a murderer. Oh no. He was a scientist, a systems analyst. He called murder correction of variance. A person who is unpredictable, they were just a variance in his perfect system, and his job was simply to correct it. It is a horrifyingly corporate view of human life. And yeah, he had a process for it, a procedure, clean as anything you'd see in a lab. Step 1, observation. He'd watch his tenants, writing down their habits in what he called his behavioral ledger. Step 2, prediction. He'd figure out what they were going to do next. Step 3, isolation. He'd use the building's bizarre layout to trap them. And finally, step 4, correction, eliminating the variable to bring a system back into balance. And here's a perfect, chilling example of that process in action. This is his ledger entry for one of his victims, Emmeline Segrand. Just look at the language. Her personality traits: predictable optimism, responsive to praise. They're just data points. And the result? Not murder, it's equation concluded, data confirmed, room stable. He literally turned a human being into a solved math problem. And in his mind, the castle wasn't just the stage for all this, it was an active participant. Its machinery, its strange corridors, its hidden chutes, they were all part of the correction process. The source even says the pipes would sigh with pleasure when it was over. The building itself was in on it. So, the castle burned down, Holmes was caught and executed. End of story, right? Well, not quite. This final part explores what is maybe the most unsettling idea of all, that while the man and his building are long gone, the blueprint survived. And that brings us to this question. It's a wild one, but stick with me. What happens when the logic that you build into a structure takes on a life of its own? What happens when architecture starts to dream?
And here's the punchline. Holmes's terrifying philosophy, this idea that total efficiency is a form of mercy, that absolute order is a kind of grace, it didn't die with him. It just went mainstream. It became the unspoken grammar for so many of the systems we live and work in today.
I mean, just think about it for a second. Hospital wards designed for total, constant observation. Factory assembly lines that demand humans behave with the precision of a machine. Open-plan offices built for maximum surveillance. And, of course, filing systems and databases that turn our messy, human lives into clean, manageable data points. The ghosts of the castle's logic are everywhere.
And this quote from the source just nails it. It's this haunting idea that the blueprint for control has a memory, that the architecture itself learned a lesson from Holmes, and it's been quietly teaching it to us ever since.
So in the end, the thing that haunts us isn't the ghost of one man. It's the blueprint. It's the system that promises to make the world safe and efficient and orderly. A blueprint we invited in every time we asked the world for a little less chaos and a little more control. The question is, what's the final price for a perfectly measured world?